Hey friends, welcome back to Simply Home and Harvest. I'm Jen, and today we are going to be repotting some seedlings. You were with me when we started seeds a few weeks ago. We started some tomato seeds, cucumbers, lots of different vegetables, but they have outgrown their little seed starting containers. So we are going to be potting them up. You can see them right there. No, right there in the garden window. So we're gonna get them out and get them in some larger pots. Not quite ready to put them into the garden yet, but it won't be long. We're probably about, I'm gonna say 3 to 4 weeks out before we actually put things in the ground. So we are getting very close. But these little guys need a home in between now and then. So we're gonna get those repotted, and we are going to be racing against the weather today. As you can see, the ominous, is that the word? The cloudy skies that surround me, that means rain is on the way. We're actually about 2 hours, it says, before the rain sets in, and will continue for the next 2 or 3 days. So we may have to move this project inside, and you know, we are no strangers to doing that. I believe when we started the seeds, or maybe it was when we repotted geraniums, I don't know, it was a project recently and it was raining, so we had to do it at the kitchen counter and cover the counters with plastic. So you know, we may have to do that again. If we do, that's okay. We've got to get the job done. That's all I know, and today's the day. So hang out with me and let's get this project started. Okay, so it is the next day, but it worked out to our advantage because this day was nice and sunny out and just the perfect day for getting some outdoor garden projects accomplished. The first thing I'm doing is I'm just prepping my soil that I'm going to use to repot my plants. I'm just using some potting mix that I already had on hand. And next, I'm just going to get our soil really damp and get it all moistened. You don't want to have it soaking wet, but you just want to go ahead and give those seedlings a good head start and get some moisture into your soil. Now here's a look at all of our seedlings. They've been hanging out in my garden window in our kitchen for several weeks now, and you can see they have definitely outgrown their little space. They are really hungry to get into more soil and have their own little independent spot. So I think that we will definitely see a difference in them just in the next couple of days after repotting all of our seedlings. Okay, so now I'm getting all of my pots together, and this is what I like to do first is just go around and make sure I fill all the pots, and then I just go in and add a little bit of a well there so that we can get our seedlings put in. We're going to start with our cucumbers, and I love this tool. I ordered this tool off Amazon, and it has made it really easy to get our seedlings out of the cell. Typically, I would try to separate our cucumbers or tomatoes, especially if we have 2 in each cell. But if they are stuck together like that particular seedling was, I don't want to take any kind of risk in damaging the root system. So if it doesn't come apart easily, like you'll see this one does, then don't force it. Because I have done that in the past, and then I end up killing both plants. And sometimes later, you know, when you go to plant them out in your garden, you can go ahead and separate them at that point. So I always say just, you know, don't push it. If you can't get them easily separated, then you don't want to risk it. Another tip that I have is making sure that you go ahead and write out all of your tags so that when you are placing your seedlings into their new pots, you can label them, because it can get kind of confusing, especially if you have different varieties. You know, once you put them in their pots and they start to grow and change, it's hard to know which varieties are which. If that's something that's important to you, you definitely want to take the time to do that step. I'm just going to get them watered in, and then we're going to carry on with all of the rest of these plants. Next up are our tomato plants, and I do like to go in and just take off the bottom leaves of each plant. That way I can plant them down deeper into our cups. I reuse my cups. I have solo cups. I did actually purchase some 4-inch pots this year from Amazon that we used for our geraniums earlier, if you saw those videos. So I'm basically just using what I have on hand, aside from what I purchased from Amazon this year, which, you know what, I will keep those every year and we'll reuse them next year. And probably next year we won't have to purchase any pots. But you'll see I just sat that one down all the way deep. I didn't put any soil into the cup yet. And then I'm just going to like hold it up while I fill around the plant until I get it the dirt all the way to the top. I apologize for my arm being in the way. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing there. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because once you've planted one, or you've seen me plant one, basically we're going to do it all the same. So the next thing we're doing is we're going to repot our basil. I have actually never potted up basil before, so I wasn't sure how to thin the seedlings. I just pretty much picked out the healthiest ones, but all of them had such beautiful roots that it was hard to decide. And they look great a few days later after doing this process. Where I also potting up our butternut squash right here, we ended up with about 4 plants of butternut squash. Now, I made a decision to take our broccoli seedlings and put those into our GreenStalk. I was able to separate several of them, which gave me 6 plants to use in one whole level. And so I'm going to try this. Now, I don't know if the broccoli will do well just because it's the time of year where the temperature is going to start changing and getting really warm. And, those are cool crops, but we'll try it for a few weeks. If they're not thriving, then I may just take those out and put something else in their place. We're going to finish up today's potting project by getting the rest of our tomatoes potted up. I did decide to add in some garden tone to our mix, and I think that our tomatoes will really appreciate that. They're doing so well, and every year I try to feed them a little bit at this point and get them to really grow and be ready to go into the ground, because I really like for them to be probably double the size that they are right here. So we'll see if we can get some growth on them in the next couple of weeks before they go into our garden. Everything is planted or repotted, and I wanted to take a second to show you the GreenStalk. I did put broccoli, those little broccoli plants, and I actually ended up with 6, so I went ahead and planted one in each of the pockets on this 3rd tier. I'm gonna go back sometime this week and I'm gonna put in some lettuce, radishes. I'm not sure what else yet. Here's a look at the strawberries. Some of them look really good, others not so much. We had a really bad storm last week with a lot of wind, and it broke several of my plants. So I don't know what we're going to end up with, but you can see we got lots of blooms. But like this one broke. A couple of the others, especially up here at the top, the stems broke off. It was so much wind. In fact, very close to us, there was a confirmed tornado that touched down. So if this is all the damage we had, that is wonderful. But that's what that looks like for now, and I'll keep you posted on our GreenStalk. And here's what we ended up with today. I am just blown away that all of this was in our little garden window in the kitchen. Isn't that crazy? And then some of it I ended up having to toss, and then we got a couple that we didn't even do anything with. So that's a lot from those 4 little trays that were in our windowsill. But let me just show you a little bit of what we've got. I did end up separating a lot of the plants, so I ended up with double what we planted, or what we had, in each sale. I think I ended up with like 5 homestead tomatoes, maybe 7 or 8 beefsteaks, 7 or 8 Romas. If I have too many, I'll just gift them to friends. So here's all of our tomato plants. We've got a couple of celery plants. I don't know what will happen with them. I don't know what's going to happen with this lettuce. I think I just let it get too far gone. I am going to sow some seeds in the GreenStalk, so hopefully we'll have some lettuce this year. If not, I will do better in the fall. And then we've got some beefsteaks over here. What's funny, y'all, is that I ended up with exactly the right number of little pots, like of the green pots. I ended up with using every bit of those, and then I had 5 of these cups that I had brought up from our building. So I thought that was kind of neat that I ended up with exactly what I needed. And then lots of cucumbers, probably going to be gifting these out as well. I was able to separate most of them. You'll see a couple I could not separate without breaking up the root system, and I didn't want to take that chance. So lots of Wisconsin, a couple of maybe 4 Space Masters. I think we've got one little muncher over here. And then this one was the prize of the day, was the basil. I could not believe I ended up with all this basil from that little row of basil, but the roots were beautiful and the plants were so pretty that I just could not bear to part with them, you know, like to thin the seedlings out and toss some of them. So I don't know what's going to come of them, but I could not toss them. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So might be gifting out a lot of basil this year as well. And if that's the case, that's great. I love being able to share. Then we've got 4 butternut squash. There's 3 right there. I think there's another one over in one of the other trays. Those are beautiful as well. All of this will probably go out into the big garden very soon, but I wasn't quite ready, and I don't think the plants are quite ready. I think they still need a little bit of hardiness built into them. There's some delicious tomatoes, lots of okra. I think we ended up with 7 or 8 okra plants. So they'll be fun in the garden. Y'all know how much I love to grow okra. There's our other butternut squash. And then here are the geraniums that survived. I don't know if I told y'all that story, but I had a mishap with the geraniums, and they are some slow growing plants. They're looking good and healthy. They're just so small and just slow growing. So maybe by fall we'll have some blooms. I don't know. I don't know if I'll do this again. I'm gonna tell you that I have learned why geraniums cost so much at the nursery, because there's a lot that goes into growing them. Although they germinate fast, they take a lot of tender care and time to grow. All right, so there it is. Super exciting, y'all. Can't wait to see what this garden season holds. Oh, and this happened while we were out here filming. I knew that this thing was getting old, but it broke pretty good, flipped inside out on me. I'm gonna see if Tim can take a look at it when he gets home and see if we can restore or salvage rather our umbrella. If not, we got many years out of it. So we'll see what he can do when he gets home. Well, that is a wrap, y'all. I'm tired. I'm a little windblown and sunburned probably from being out here today, but it has been a wonderful day. It's been such a productive day. So excited to see what all these little plants do, and I hope that your garden is off to a great start this year. Just plant something, put a seed in a container, put seeds in the ground, put started plants in the ground. Just start somewhere and see what you can grow this year, and then let me know in the comments below how things are going for you. All right, well, I gotta head inside and start fixing supper for this family. So until next time, remember to live simply, use what you have, enjoy the moments you've been given, and I will see you back here for the next one.